So, like 6 years ago, Polygon drops a video about reading in Skyrim.
You're just now getting to this? That ship has long since sailed, my guy.
Well, this is my burning dumpster fire of a train wreck, and I'll crash it where I want, thank you. Now, they do make a killer point. History books and fantasy games in D&D typically do suck ass. The mats, that is to say Mercer and Coville, as well as DM's Craft and others, recommend you chase the players up a tree. Put them in a situation where they need to care about the lore. However, this is just railroading when you think about it, and I think we all kind of know that.
If their only solution is to care about the lore, then yeah, I guess it is railroading. I've never really thought about it like that. But then what? Should you just accept the fact that the players don't care? DMs and game designers should just give up and go home?
Yup, well, no. The problem is how the history is presented. Look, your lore needs to be plot relevant, I agree. Don't hide the only solutions in big boring lore dumps. I have three strategies to help make lore presentation far more amenable. Number one, write out your lore dump. Go ahead. I'll wait. Now break it into pieces. Literally, take some scissors and cut it up. Black out a few words, mix them all up. Then, give those fragments to your players. Let them sit and figure it out. The act of it being a puzzle will get them interested.
Either that or they'll just give up. How about we try this instead? Let's show them how unreliable history really is. Give them some short blurbs, no more than, say, between 2 and 300 words, but make sure they can flick. Make the big idea line up, like, say, there was a huge war, but make the sources disagree on who started it or why. Sow some seeds of doubt in the setting. Play two truths and a lie. Be careful, though. Don't lie to your players too often. It'll do more harm than good, believe me.
Excellent. Medieval history is usually recorded in annals or in a ledger format. Think about the appendices in the back of The Lord of the Rings, lists of dates with names and events. So write out 50 to 100 years of your local community history. Births, deaths, significant events, that kind of thing. Each one gets a single sentence, no more. Have the key thing you want to tell them buried somewhere amongst that ledger text. It feels more authentic. Also, they can pick up some useful NPC names along the way.
As DMs, we often only think of the big picture events, but it's the little things that make games come to life. A baby here, a marriage there, a court case trying to get out of a marriage here. Oh, wait, we have a video on that. Also, for each of the events in the ledger, make sure you have a couple of sentences in your DM notes. That way, if the PCs go looking for more details, you can reward their inquisitiveness.
Genau. Now, this last one is kind of hard to replicate, and Skyrim did fail pretty hard at it. Let's look at the death of Lord Illindum. I'm not going to read it here for you, because you get the idea. The grammar sucks, their word choice sucks, their writing lacks any kind of impact or sense of action. And I can hear you cry, it's a history book, it doesn't need action, right? But no, you're wrong. You've got really two options, in my opinion, for this kind of text. You can summarize the key points in a bullet list, like, say, Call of Cthulhu does, or you just full send, full commit.
Yeah, that's it. You tell them, everybody get out your pens. We're going to write all of our shit in Anglo-Saxon verse, y'all. Not.
No, no. I personally do that for my players maybe once or twice a campaign, but I don't recommend everyone else does. Instead, just try to capture the narrative. What do you want to happen? Give the players a POV character. Let them know who wrote the text and why. Who wrote it and for whom matters. An account of the death of Lord Illindum, or whatever, will sound very different if it's written by his enemies than, say, if it was written posthumously by his daughter-in-law. cut out all of the medieval "in the year of our Lord during the 5th reign of good King Eladan, may he be blessed by God" bullshit. It's 1,000% accurate, but cut out all the doubling back and the phrasal issues that modern audiences don't want to read. Save that for proclamations and legal documents. Then throw in some commentary. Medieval texts are covered in comments. Annotate the living shit out of it. Cross stuff out, make corrections, write shit like Lord Illendum burned the village at Rosenfeld in 1234 on the top section, saying he was a good and fair ruler or something. Give the text character. Make it appeal to your players.
You know, when I drop lore in my games, I like to do the breadcrumb method. I'll drop a little here, a little there, and I do it all from the point of view of the NPC they're talking to, because not all the time people are able to go to libraries. You know, if you're out in the wild, there's not just a library beside every oak tree. So let's say, for example, orcs have set up a base in a hillside, and an evil wizard has come along and made himself El Jefe of the orcs. A commoner that had never seen an orc or traveled more than 10 miles from their home/farm might have to say this if asked. An evil cultist has found an ancient shrine to some dark lord and is using it to bring demons into the land. He is given great powers by the Dark Lord that cause crops to fail. Hell, it even caused little baby George to be born with a clubfoot. Now, that is not the case of the situation, but it's enough to let the party know that there is something magical and dangerous in the hills. So I would take the time to think about how to quote everyday Joe Blow would describe what is going on. You can do the same with the history of the area. Let's say a small skirmish over some stolen cattle went down in a valley near a town 300 years ago, and the bodies were buried in that same valley. You have 300 years of the telephone game to play with here. The story could change into something like this. A great battle of good versus evil took place in the valley at a place called Valley of the Mounds. It's there a force was defeated by the Lord's troops. There were strange warriors sent by an evil wizard to steal the very essence of the life in the valley with their foul sorcery. So you can have some fun with it, and your players will too.
Alright, y'all. If this is helpful, leave a comment, subscribe if you want to see more, leave a like. We're going to be switching to doing some history videos, and those are going to be coming out pretty much over the next 6 months or so. And they'll be coming out real soon. I want to really reward my college students and kind of flex my history muscles, because I'm not just a D&D scholar and a game studies person. I'm also a historian. So with that, take it easy.